Hey guys, what's up? Rob Mutz here. So today's part 2 of the beginner guides, and so we're going to get a little bit more into crafting today. We're going to get into quests a little bit, and we'll see kind of how long we end up going. And so yesterday we ended off with talking a little bit about shop layout, about balance between bins and chests and racks and all that kind of stuff, what energy does, that sort of thing. So here's what we'll start with today. I left you off with tier 2 resources, so that's kind of the two first simple ones. Tier 2 begins at tier 5 items. So we're going to look at this right now. So let's say the tier 5 bow on the far right there. That's what it starts with. It's wood, the iron, wood, whatever, a bow, and one component. But the tier 9 is going to use the same two basic resources, but also a tier 3 resource, which I didn't mention last time. So the boots, you can see the same thing, uses the same two basic resources, but then there's an additional type of resource that we don't have out yet. So as you can see, they're all kind of linear along the same types of resources, but there's something additional once you get higher up, which starts at tier 8. So I'm going to explain that right now and what that looks like. So when I'm saying tier 3 resources, you understand what I mean. So let's go back into design, into furniture, and if we go all the way down to the end here, so there's a red one and a blue one. Sometimes I say red and blue, sometimes I'll actually say jewel and ether, but these are the two. So there's a blue and a red tier 3 resource. This is what they look like when they're max level. And so if you look at this, oops. Okay, so two of my main crafts use the red or the jewel, and two of them use ether or the blue. And so the reason is that the tier 9 resources go up a lot slower than the other ones. So eventually, as I'm crafting these 4 items, I'm going to run out of tier 3 resources. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I just wanted to show you that generally when you're looking, when I say find a good crafting rotation, I'm saying find one with herbs and oil, find one with leather and fabric, find one with stone and steel, find one with wood and, we're going to look at this because I keep saying it wrong, ironwood. That's why, because it's a metal and a wood. That's dumb. Anyway. And so what I'm saying is find ones that don't overlap with tier 1 and tier 2 resources, but also find ones that have an even amount of the 2 tier 3 resources. A lot of people will use dagger because if you look at it, it's going to use iron and steel as well, but it's not using any of the tier 3 resource, which means that there's no overlap and you're never going to run out of jewels. So that's why a lot of people say to craft that instead. It's not quite as profitable as it is the boots, because a lot of people do it and it's just not like a really profitable item or an expensive item compared to other tier 9s, but it doesn't use it. So that's why some people use that. But when I'm talking about a crafting rotation, this is what I mean. And so I hope that makes sense and makes a little bit more sense when it seems really complicated what I'm talking about. So there's your tier 1, your tier 2, and your tier 3 resources. Hey guys. Okay, so as you can see, I made a couple changes to the shop. Man, it takes forever to do this, to put everything in and out. But anyway, I wanted to show you what a max shop looks like compared to what I've been showing you since yesterday, and talk about a couple different things. So first of all, there's two different kind of concepts for a shop. So one is closed concept and one's open concept. What you see here is closed concept. Basically any of these on the outside that you see, no customers can access them. So no customers are going to ask for any items that are not accessible. Like the ones that they can reach, like this one, let's say on the corner, it can reach the corner, so it can actually choose any item on that entire rack as long as it can touch it. But any on the back, like this one back here, they can't touch because they just can't reach it. And so there's a couple different benefits and reasons that people do this. First thing is that there's less room for customers to walk around, so generally they're going to choose an item a lot faster. The second thing is that you can kind of pick and choose which items that they're going to pick to buy and you can kind of change the ratio. So if you're finding that a lot of people are only asking for these high tier items that you want to surcharge, and no one's really asking for the lower tier like fodder items that you're trying to discount in order to get energy up to sell them, then you can take the higher ones off of, you know, the close ones and put in different items so that people are taking the cheaper items more often. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility with what your shop does. So that's the only reason, really. It's to change the customer flow and the items that you're choosing. So that's pretty much it for this. I also want to talk about heroes really quick, because obviously it's such a huge debate and thing that people talk about all the time. And also when we're talking about crafting and different tiers of items and stuff, it's really necessary to understand how to use heroes, how to get components, all that kind of stuff. And so let's touch on that really quick. So with characters, you can check at any time all of the different types. There's fighters, rogues, and spellcasters. You can check what they do, what their benefits are, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Now these, you need to get to a certain level to unlock them, and then it costs a lot more. Like to buy one of these, I think it's like 5 million or something for one. That might be wrong, but I think it's something like that. Also, sorry for background noise. Running both the webcam and video is hard because all I have is MacBook Air, so it runs the fan. So sorry for background noise. Anyway, and so for you, you may have a couple of these like really low tier heroes at the start, which is totally fine. But what I would say is don't focus on them. It doesn't matter that much. You don't need to reroll their skills, because eventually you're going to reroll the whole hero anyway. It doesn't matter. Like you sitting there and rerolling a monk skill when eventually you're going to have a dancer, or you're going to have ninjas, or you're going to have like really high tier. Like when you get up levels, there's no point in you spending gems rerolling skills. There's no point in you spending a lot of money to get really high tier gear, because it just makes no sense. Eventually you're going to want the higher tier of hero. And so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Free to play is a totally different story, and you can check my free to play hero guide on that one. But you can check this anytime you want and kind of see what you want to run. So let's just look over here. So when you go to city, this is a totally different screen. But when you go to quest, you can open up different quest slots, and of course there's a ton of different things that you can do. And so at the start of the game, you're really only going to be running the 3 here on the right. So you're really only going to be running like these 3 things at the start of the game. That's the first tier, I guess, of quest. And it's interesting because so few people run those quests. There's almost never any available in the market to buy in order to craft things with. And so for you to be able to do these quests is pretty necessary. Next is going to be this tier, and so on and so on. So you're going to need to have heroes strong enough to be able to run these different things. Now each one has a boss as well, which is going to give you some of each of the components that come from these different quest areas, and each of these will increase in value and rarity and that sort of thing as you go forward through the game and start beating different things. I would say don't worry about mastering a certain like, see how it says mastered there at the top, a certain area, because eventually you're going to master it anyways as you just continue to kill the boss over and over and over. Like bookmarks, I pretty much, well, I have most of the bosses in there because I just kill them over and over. So me sitting here trying to just master it doesn't matter as much. So having heroes to be able to complete quests and to get components so that you can craft and make money in the early game, yes, it's necessary. But I would say don't worry so much about what skills that they have, what you need to reroll, all that kind of stuff. The only time that you're really going to want to spend money on gearing up your heroes well and rerolling skills and trying to perfect all of that stuff is 2 things. There's 2 things that you're going to need. One is Royal Merchant, which is the paid monthly subscription. If you don't have that, you're not going to worry about it, because honestly, you can't repair your gear, and so quests are not your moneymaker, period. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So that sucks. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I go into that in depth in another guide, so check it out. And the second thing is that you're going to want the highest tier of hero. So yeah, like I said, just don't worry about all that stuff when you have lower tier heroes. Wait until you have the highest ones that you find ones that you like, and then you can worry about that stuff later on. But for now, just enjoy it. Get some basic gear on your heroes, um, just to the point that you can kill stuff. There's also champions in the game which help you. They have different benefits and different things that help your characters along the way, um, all that kind of stuff. So, trying to think if there's anything else that I want to get into right now. All right, so there's just one more thing I want to talk about right now before we end this second part of the beginner series. So I just want to mention quick, basically about what player card means and what different things do, so that you kind of understand all this stuff, because sometimes it's hard to understand or just really grasp what it means. So net worth, all that means is the amount that you have sold. So market has nothing to do with it. The only thing that matters is customers that come into your shop and you sell things to. So let's look at this, 946 million. So if you go here and I sell, there's 2 million, 4 million, 8 million, and some fails. Okay, 10 million. So it was at 946, 954. Sweet. So you sell 8 million in your shop, your net worth goes up 8 million. So when you look at leaderboards, basically all these people have just put more money through their shop than anyone else. So when I'm talking about sprinting net worth, high scores, I'm ranked 14th in the world, whatever, like it's more of a brag than anything for most people. Like net worth is kind of just a number of sales that you've done in your shop. So that's pretty much it. But there's a few people, me included, who compete to just have a really high net worth. Investments are just the number of gold that you have put into your city. So when you go to city, and you can invest in all of these towers, you put gold in, you help your guild. So let's say here I've got 21.8 billion put into that one tower. So when you go here, I've got 43, 21 of that is put into town hall, and everything else is kind of dispersed. I've got 800 million in each tower, like that's the lowest, and then some of them have more than that, some of them have 1 billion or more. So that's that. Helped is basically how many guild members you've helped. So in here they request help to help upgrade their furniture. You just press help, that's all that is. Prestige is just in your shop, the decorations that you have. So because I just switched around all my furniture and stuff so that you could see I took it out, but normally I have some things kind of in the middle here, like a fireplace and some couches and carpet and stuff. And then there's some things outside as well, like some furniture and like different things that I put out. So all prestiges it does not mean anything. It's just like how much you kind of put into the decorations of your shop. That's all that prestige is. So some people go huge on it, and I'm ranked like incredibly low on prestige, like 21,000. It doesn't, to me, it just doesn't matter. Some people love it. Mastered is how many blueprints that you have completely mastered. So they turn gold when you finish crafting enough of them to master the blueprint. And so right now, other than the special chest blueprints that need to be unlocked, which I haven't found yet, I've found all of them in the first 3 chests, but I haven't found a few still. Everything free to play is mastered. So some people, if they've paid for every blueprint, will have 350 or whatever it is right now. But it's just how many that you've finished. And the last thing is Ascensions. And so when you get Ascension shards, which are the most valuable and rare item in the game, you're able to ascend items. That's when you look at my items here and they have stars beside them. It just means that I've ascended that item. And then also you can ascend complete lines of items, like your clothes. I've ascended my clothes so that when I craft the clothes, I get more experience. The surcharge cost is less, multi-craft chance is more. Like it just becomes better to craft that type of item. And so that's all that means. It's how many stars that you have total in the entire game. And so some people have close to 1,000 of that, and I'm only at 150. But that's all that is. So hope that makes sense. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you've got questions or anything at all, I'm around and I'm happy to help wherever I can. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, and I'll talk to you soon. So thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.